Great-grandpa, I'm going on a field trip to the Alamo soon. Have you ever heard of it?
Heard of it. Son, I was there. I was about your age when the Battle of the Alamo took place. The year was 1836.
No way, you were there? Can you tell me about it?
Sure, what do you want to know?
Well, first I want to know what it looked like.
The Alamo was pretty large. It covered about 3 acres of land, which was surrounded with a huge adobe wall, about 9 to 12 feet high. There were buildings inside the fort, including a chapel, a barracks for soldiers, which is where they live, a medical room, and an area for the horses. There were big cannons along the walls and even on top of the buildings.
I can't believe it was that big. Do you remember who the leaders were in the battle?
Remember, Santa Anna was the leader of the Mexican army, and his troops arrived on February 23, 1836. Lieutenant Colonel William Travis and James Bowie, or Jim Bowie as you may know him, were the leaders for the Texans. A few weeks later, on March 6th, the Mexicans started the major attack. We were scared, but the Texans fended off a few attacks. Sam Houston wanted all of us to move out of the fort, but James Bowie chose for us to stay and defend it. The soldiers decided we needed to stay too. Then the Mexican troops broke into the fort and the fighting got intense. This is when the Mexican troops won. Every soldier in the fort died. The survivors were women, servants, slaves, and children like me.
Wow, I would have been so scared too. Well, if the Mexican troops won, did any of their soldiers die too?
Oh yes. In fact, the Mexican army lost between 400 and 600 soldiers during this battle. The Texans lost between 180 and 250 soldiers. For how small their army was, this was quite impressive that they held their own so well.
Thank you for sharing your story with me, Great-grandpa. I'm sure that must have been hard to experience that when you were a kid. The only things I have to worry about are my sisters stealing my toys. I'm glad I did not have to be in the Battle of the Alamo, and now I can remember all this stuff when I go see the Alamo. Maybe I'll see where you lived.
Yes, son. You should be very glad you were born when you were. However, had it not been for the Battle of the Alamo, Texas eventually would not have gained its independence from Mexico during the Battle of San Jacinto shortly after, and our lives would be very different. I hope you have fun on your field trip and remember some of the things people went through to end up where we are now. The world is full of history if you take the time to listen.